Let me first put a shout out right now, if I could, for www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. You know, Noble Gold CEO Colin Plume thinks that quantitative tightening is setting up the stage for a gold rally. And in his interview with the National Desk, Colin Plume said that the tightening is pushing the dollar up. However, he predicts that by next year, the Fed will print money again to restart the economic activities. If you're thinking of gold and silver right now, good time to do it. Noble Gold is giving a free gold American Eagle coin with every eligible IRA or 401k rollover in this month of September. You can't go wrong with noblegoldinvestments.com. Pick up the phone Tuesday morning at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And find out about your financial planning. Let Noble Gold help you. And tell them that Pastor Paul Begley sent you there.
A tropical storm warning has been issued for the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as Fiona approaches. Tropical Storm Fiona's center is approaching Guadalupe, and tropical storm conditions, heavy rain, and strong waves are expected in the Leeward Islands by Friday evening, the National Hurricane Center said. The storm is packing winds of 50 miles per hour with even higher gusts, was only about 75 miles east of Guadalupe late Friday morning. The tropical storm conditions, which extend 140 miles from the center of the storm, have prompted multiple governments across the region to issue tropical storm warnings and watches. Tropical Storm Fiona was forecast to move across the Caribbean's easternmost islands Friday night before slowing to a spot just south of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico late Saturday and Sunday, the U.S. National Hurricane Center reported. Friday's forecast increased the estimated rainfall totals for the affected islands to as much as a foot in places across eastern and southern Puerto Rico and 16 inches in the eastern Dominican Republic. That much rain may cause flash floods and mudslides in higher terrain, with coastal flooding and life-threatening surf possible as Fiona's winds blow ashore, the center said. Gradual strengthening is expected over the next few days, and Fiona could become a hurricane by the middle of next week over the southwestern Atlantic near the Bahamas. Ukrainian President Zelensky says mass grave discovered in Izium after Russian troop withdrawal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said a mass grave had been discovered in the city of Izium in Ukraine's northern Kharkiv region following Russia's withdrawal from the area last week. The finding hints at atrocities reportedly committed by Russian troops in other areas of Ukraine like Bucha, a suburb of Kiev, where reports of torture and civilian killings sparked international investigations into Russia's actions. Quote, a mass burial site was found in Izium, Zelensky said in his Thursday night address. Quote, the necessary procedural actions have already begun there. The Associated Press reported that its journalists saw the site in a forest outside Izium on Thursday. A mass grave had a marker saying it contained the bodies of 17 Ukrainian soldiers. It was surrounded by hundreds of individual graves with only crosses to mark them. Some of the bodies found at mass grave burial site in Izium in eastern Ukrainian city, recently recaptured from Russian forces, showed signs of torture. Ukrainian President Zelensky said on Friday, blaming Russia for what he called cruelty and terrorism. Authorities found 440 unmarked graves at the largest burial site, the Defense Ministry said on Friday. Ukraine's Center for Strategic Communications said on Thursday that some of the graves discovered in Izium were fresh and that the corpses buried there were mostly civilians. The International Criminal Court, several allied nations, and Kiev have launched investigations into the thousands of alleged atrocities and human rights abuses, including torture of civilians and Ukrainian troops, along with civilian killings. Fireball seen over the United Kingdom confirmed as meteor after a day of confusion. A fireball seen over many parts of the northern UK has been confirmed as a meteor after a day of confusion about its identity. The fireball was visible above northern England, northern Ireland, and Scotland as it blazed across the clear night sky just after 10 p.m. on Wednesday evening. It traveled 300 kilometers above Wales, the Irish Sea, and Belfast before crashing into the Atlantic near Islay, according to new calculations by the UK Meteor Network. The network's initial calculation suggested it was just space junk that could have came from Elon Musk's Starlink satellite program, but it withdrew that theory after collecting more data. John McLean, an astronomer at the network, said, quote, "We've analyzed it from many more angles. It is definitely a meteor, probably a small piece of asteroid that's broken off a bigger asteroid. It came in at an asteroidal orbit." Hundreds of people across Scotland, Northern Ireland, and northern parts of England spotted the unusual fireball lighting up the night sky on Wednesday. 42-floor Chinese skyscraper engulfed in flames. A 42-story building in the capital of China's southern province, Hunan, was seen engulfed in flames and black smoke on Friday. Videos of the incident showed debris falling to the ground and workers evacuating the building, which belongs to the country's largest telecoms operator. The city's fire department said 280 firefighters were deployed and were able to quickly put out the fire on the 720-foot tall building. Social media users complained of being unable to use their phones. However, China Telecom said in a statement that there was no disruption of cell phone service. Authorities said that as of 4:20 p.m. local time, the fire had been put out and there were no known casualties, according to Chinese state broadcaster CCTV. Local reports suggest people were evacuated from the building, which is about 200 meters high. China Telecom is a massive state-owned operation, employing hundreds of thousands of staff. Floods in Italy killed 10 survivors plucked from rooftops and trees. Flash floods swept through several towns in a hilly central Italy after hours of exceptionally heavy rain, leaving 10 people dead and at least 4 others missing. Dozens of survivors scrambled onto rooftops or up into trees to await rescue. Floods invaded garages and basements and knocked down doors. In one town, the powerful rush of water pushed a car onto a second-story balcony, while elsewhere parked vehicles were crumpled on top of each other in the streets. Some farm fields near the sea were meters underwater. Italy's Emergency Fire and Rescue Agency said that multiple people were also reported missing after at least 16 inches of rain fell in parts of the country on Thursday night. The emergency agency said it rescued several people late Thursday and early Friday, some from rooftops and others in trees. Many of the 300 firefighters on rescue operations waded through waist-high water in flooded streets, while others operated rubber dinghies to scoop up survivors along their path.